Thank you for coming out, taking time out of your busy schedule to come and spend some time with us today. The purpose of our workshop today is truly to have you see the writing process, how we go through the writing process with your children, the different strategies that we show your children. Writing is a very difficult skill, as you probably know, and a lot of children tire out from it. They don't have the stamina to keep writing, or they don't have the desire to keep writing. But the strategies that we can show you today are strategies that you can work with your children at home to help them move the process along. We do all the teaching here. You can just reinforce whatever it is that we're doing here at home with the many strategies that we will be showing you in small group and in large group. We're going to teach this just like we would a class. We've got whole class instruction and small group instruction so that you'll see how this process works. Now, before I get started, I want to thank and I want to acknowledge the teachers who are here today, who are going to be presenting the different parts of the writing process. And I'd like to introduce and thank Lori Casaro, Hattie Grant, Mary Ellen Millistan, Tony Gamels, Megan O'Sullivan, Angela Poley, and Jessica O'Hara. They're here today to help you with this process. Thank you for coming as well. I'd also like to acknowledge here today, we have Dr. Terranova who's here. Now, last night was a very special night for Dr. Terranova. She announced her retirement at the end of this year, if you were not at the board meeting. And I want to congratulate you personally on your retirement. And I want to thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your leadership and for the many years of public service you've had in public education. Thank you. We also have Mr. Hatter here today. He's our Director of Curriculum. Thank you for coming as well. So before we get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about why we selected Writers Workshop and writing. Back in May, the teachers, the staff, and I decided that we wanted to work on a particular goal, a goal for this year. And all of the grade levels decided that writing was the goal that we wanted to work on. And as you know, the standards are getting more rigorous. We've got to really work with our children to make sure that their writing is just the way we need it to be. It needs to be inclusive of all of the elements that good writing has. And so with the rigor of the standards, we are all pretty much in tune to wanting to work toward achieving our goals and making sure that your children come equipped through the grades, across grade levels, with the strategies they need in order to become good writers. Now, one of the things that I always say is writing is more than a skill, it's an art, and it is. And not everyone is gifted in the art of writing, but certainly we can hone in on the skills for each child on each grade level. So our goals today is, the first one is to improve the writing process for all students across grade levels. And how are we going to do that? Well, we pretty much have a unified curriculum here, so that everything happens in the curriculum, on the grade level, and across grade level. We work on a lot of the same types of writing skills, age appropriate and grade appropriate, to make sure that by the time they leave Greenvale in the 5th grade, that they come with the writing skills that they need. We need to focus on the strategies and the mechanics in order to improve the quality and accuracy of written language. Well, I'm sure if you've read some of your students' or your children's work, you're going to see that some of the writing mechanics are not quite there. They forget to put a period, their sentences goes with 3 and 4 thoughts hooked onto it. So we want to make sure that they understand what complete sentences are and how to get their message across in the next goal, clear and concise language. We need to have them using clear and concise language. Now, in order to do that, we need to make sure that they have the vocabulary that they need to be able to write well. Students who keep moving and moving their thoughts along, it's because they don't quite have the language or the vocabulary that they need, and we need to make sure that we work with them and provide them with vocabulary-rich classrooms. And we develop our writing skills through a lot of these strategies and the modeling of these strategies. We want students to be able to self-assess their own work by using checklists or rubrics, which you will have an opportunity to do in the little group work because we're going to give you a little activity to do while you're sitting here. We want to make sure that you see what they see. They need to be able to go to a checklist and a rubric and pretty much assess their own work. Did I do this? Yes, I can check it off. Did I, I forgot to do that. Let me do. So they can self-assess their own work. Part of self-assessing is all part of the new APPR, the annual performance reviews. We want to make sure that our students, aside from the feedback and the assessment that our teachers give them, we want to make sure that they're able to provide their own feedback as they look at their own work and know, wow, I need to put something else in here. Okay? Any questions about the goals? This is where I wish I had like a Vanna White to turn the light on. All right, so why writing as a goal? Well, first and foremost, we believe that writing is a lifelong skill that needs to be developed and honed. And it starts young. Language development starts young. It is a form of communication that requires constant practice, revision, and development. We don't always get it right the first time, even as adults. How many times do you draft a letter and say, I don't like the way this sounds, I want to change it up? So children, it's funny with them, they like to write what they're saying, or they like to write whatever comes to mind, they're writing it down, which is great in the draft process when they're drafting it. But sometimes they think they're finished at that point. So you're actually reading like a stream of consciousness. It just keeps flowing. The thoughts keep flowing. But we have to somehow get them to see it and then perfect it a little bit, develop it better. So then they're measured. Students are measured and assessed on their ability to communicate, respond, and synthesize information through writing. Now we measure their writing and assess their writing through a writing rubric, which you'll all have a chance to see. They also get a chance to see their writing rubric and to see, where does my writing fall here? How do I measure my writing? What makes my writing different from a level 2 writing and a level 3 writing? What's missing in my writing? Oh, I need to add more details, okay? I need to make sure that I've used the right vocabulary and that my language is concise and precise. Oh, I need to make sure that I stopped at the end of a full thought, that there is a punctuation mark here. Did I indent? Did I capitalize? Do I even have voice in my writing? Did I put myself into the writing for a little bit? If not, they can go back and check and self-assess and add these things. But you also, once we finish this workshop, will be able to see what it is that we are looking for when we assess your children's writing. But I have a note here, a little caveat. The writing process, as you will learn it here, the stages of the writing process, that's not what's measured or on the New York State assessment. The expectation is that by the time your children do take the New York State assessment, that they will have internalized the process, because we teach it from Waverly on up, that they will have internalized the process and be able to implement and apply the process easily.